Hello, loves. There's a really strong message coming through that there may be the presence of overthinking. There may be a resurgence of self-doubt, or this kind of looping mind energy. And what's coming through is that not just that it's a pattern, we kind of know that already, right? But it's a pattern that represents a deep ancestral root. And I feel like I don't always like using the word karma because it's got a lot of attachments or connotations, but it is a kind of karmic thread in that ancestral sense. And a lot of us may be able to really trace this within living family members as well. And yeah, we may identify with, or we may have identified in the past with being the way shower, the change maker, the one who breaks the patterns, right? We may have already identified that within us, that we have that role in our family. You know, or we may be different in that way to a lot of our family. So we kind of know that about ourselves. It's like things that we already know about ourselves are somehow now being brought back into like a focus in a different way, like a high definition focus where it can be so strong. What I'm feeling is it's almost so strong coming back in the last couple of days. Like there's a completely different energy in this. And I noticed a total shift literally overnight between the 30th of September, the 1st of October. Very interesting. And off the back of that, I feel like there could be a resurgence of this kind of energy. Patterns that, whether we know our family or not, whether we have contact with our family or not, whether we can categorically say, oh yeah, my dad's got that pattern, my mum's got that pattern, I know that it existed within an auntie, an uncle, a great auntie. Whether we have that awareness or connection or not, I'm really feeling strongly that these are ancestral patterns. With the masculine line as well, and I've felt this very strongly through my own journey and lineage with my dad's line, right? Through the masculine line, these overthinking patterns are as a result of war, trauma from war, and scarcity and lack. And the masculine, I've spoken about this on my social media before, not on here, but the masculine has been brutalized in many ways. And Spirit showed me last year in Bradford on it's very patriarchal grids in Bradford in the UK. Showed me very strongly through my body, through an experience and through this dynamic that I was having in a very close relationship, that the self-hatred and deep unworthiness in the masculine is actually worse than the feminine. And I was like, whoa, that's deep. And I feel like a lot of what's coming through our vessel, whether we're man or woman, is kind of irrelevant now because it's consciousness, right? So what's coming through us individually are these overthinking patterns where we get stuck in the mind, where we loop. It's anxiety, overthinking, OCD, compulsive, obsessive energy that's coming through the mind. And Spirit wants to communicate. What's coming through me right now is this real reminder. There's a reminder here. It's coming in so strong, it's easy to get pulled out by it. It's coming in so suddenly. There may have been, like I experienced, a very sudden change in energy. And with that, it's a bit like a tidal wave. It can easily knock us over. It can easily feel overwhelming until we remember that actually, oh, okay, this is a place I visited before. I mean, we know that these things are familiar, don't we? 555, when I looked up then, it's like all is as it's meant to be. Whatever's showing now, even if it's overwhelming or in a different new way, in a much more focused, like HD, it's the same old pattern. We've got to look at it deeply in a new way. We've got to change the angle of our consciousness around it. And this is interesting that this is weaving through now, because my fire energy has been really strong, like my yang producing electric assertive energy was very, very strong in September. And I feel like I've slipped more into a yin kind of integration receptivity in the last couple of days. But then with that, there can be a tendency to go into it, right? And there's a reminder here that the fire of your consciousness, you have the ability to use that within you, direct it with your intention to change the angle of your perception, which will then burn away that pattern through the higher perspective of compassion, the higher perspective that, and higher reminder, the sacred reminder that we're burning away patterns that have been embedded in our familial lines, our ancestral lines, through these habits, behaviors, ways of being that are survival ways of being, right? And so many of us have really felt the new. We're embodying the new through our intention, our willingness, and through all this new high frequency energy and consciousness that's moving through the vessel. And even the old, in a lot of ways, we've kind of transcended so much of it. 90% of the time, it's easeful to kind of see something old and then choose the new. Now, it's becoming easier to choose the new. But these very deep mind patterns can be very convincing, and they have this compulsive energy. Being in the present moment is crucial. It's key. In the present moment, in the body, without pulling. This is why it's all been about the last couple of years, back to basics, breath work. People have been talking about this a long time. Presence, the ability, crafting the ability to be in the present moment. And now we know why. Because everything that we've ever done, learned, been, it's all to prepare us for this time, so that when these very deeply embedded subconscious, a lot of it's been in our blind spot, we think we've dealt with it, comes boom out of left field, because they represent the patterning that has kept humanity chained. I just feel an enormous amount of compassion right now for this wounded, for the masculine and the feminine, but the wounded masculine, these very deep control patterns are rooted in fear and embedded in the mind. The strongholds of the darkness are in the mind. They're felt through the body, but they're in here. And it all relies on our ability to not to identify with that, to stay present in the moment, in the now, in the eternal now moment. There is nothing but joy. The past or the future does not infect the now moment. The pollution in the mind is attached to linear time and what has already happened, or what may happen, or what if, a yeah but, or a what if. When we can clear that, that's everything's been, every tool, everything, just so that we can sweep that aside and stay present in the eternal now moment. Not to make meaning, to choose not to believe that story, not to get hooked into these patterns which are based on fear, anxiety. It's not you, it's not who you truly are. And a lot of the infections in the mind are exactly that, they're infections. It's not your true self. It's not the truth of your beingness. And the body's going through a lot right now. It's all linked, isn't it? Like we try to be with something in the body, but if that's very strong, our mind will try to tell us a story about it or attach a meaning to it. So again, it's the mind that pulls us out of the present moment. So really being with that and have compassion for yourself, because whatever your mind is telling you, 1144, whatever the thoughts are telling you, the old stories, the old tendency, the obsessive need to think over and over about something, it's pulling you out of the available bliss and presence in the eternal now moment. And all of these patterns are based on lack and trauma. I'll just have an enormous amount of compassion for everything that the human has been through. Our mums and dads, grandfathers, sent to war, the brutalization of the masculine. And I do really feel for a lot of men now at sometimes, because they're like, they've been conditioned out of, even more than the feminine. The feminine have been conditioned not to trust themselves, to trust their instinct, but the men have been just conditioned out of their feelings completely. Like they're finding it very difficult to drop into the space of just what is, because it's so overwhelming for them to meet the deep shame, blame, guilt, judgment within. And even if they don't identify with anything in their own life to feel shameful and guilty about, it's the way that the feminine's been treated. It's in all men, this deep shame and fear of touching the dark spaces within. Women are a bit more familiar with going into the dark space, the unseen within. They're still very afraid of it. And a lot of women do everything as well to avoid that, including self-harm, right? But men, their consciousness is different. They're not quite as comfortable in the space in between, because the male consciousness is vertical, assertive, direct. It's solution focused. It's focused in a different way. So by very nature, men find it a little bit less comfortable in the dark, in the unseen, in the space in between. So, and obviously they're in a male body, right? So their masculine drive in that way is dominant. So to then ask them, that it's like double barrel, to then ask, okay, well, you've got to feel everything within. You've got to go into that ancestral space where the thick shame lies, the ancestral, the deep roots of it. So, but this is what's necessary. It's what's being asked, and it's what is necessary to break through. So, you know, another reminder, I'm saying to you now, like, you have nothing. We don't need to carry this shame anymore. Got nothing to feel ashamed about. Even if we've all done shameful things in our life, made bad decisions, it's time to sweep it away. We have to forgive. We have to forgive self. And we have to lay down the sword of attack and defense. Lay it down and use that fire, that will, to burn away these old patterns through compassion, forgiveness, through the willingness to do something differently, to look with different eyes, to bring that new consciousness through self for self. Stop judging yourself. Stop beating yourself up. Look at your inner voice. Please stop judging yourself, going over and over things. Got to lay down the old energies that anchor all of the patterns in. Blame, shame, guilt, judgment, fear. We have to individually lay down those energies, wherever we're bringing them to ourselves. It has to be laid down. It's not ours to carry anymore. So whatever's going on, whatever's looping, it is not true. It's not true. And there's no solution to be found there. There's no solution and nothing new to be found in the old energy or the old patterns. But nothing's coming in from outside. So we have to be willing to be that new frequency for ourselves. Very deep compassion. Forget about the word love. It's quite unhelpful sometimes. It's too loaded a word. It's like the word God. People have got too many attachments to it. Some people don't even know what love feels like. So you're saying, oh, love yourself. And they're like, what? Break it down to the true meaning of love. What does it look like in action? What are the qualities of love? Acceptance, care, forgiveness, tenderness, respect, dignity, freedom, truth, transparency. If you can bring any one of those qualities to yourself, for yourself, you're on the right track there. Just keep going with that. So I love you very, very much. You're an angel and you deserve to be here and thrive. Don't need to carry the past anymore. It's not serving anybody, least of all you. So that's the message that was coming through. Shanamura Sukatia Tanama Sarekya. And I honour you, honour yourself as sacred. Till next time.